Was the Torah actually practiced during the First Temple period? It's a big question. And the answer? Much bigger than critics want to admit. First off, it's true that the prophets, like Isaiah, Amos, Micah, rarely quote directly from the Torah, but that's not proof it didn't exist. Why? Because the prophets weren't halachic teachers. They were moral reformers, social critics, spiritual firebrands. Their job wasn't to recite verse, it was to reignite values. When Amos thunders, "Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream," he's not dismissing Torah law, he's channeling its heart. Same with Micah. What does God require of you? Only to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. These aren't alternatives to Torah. They are its moral core, echoes of Deuteronomy, Leviticus, and the prophetic call of Sinai. Want something more concrete? Check out 2 Kings chapter 22. King Josiah discovers a Torah scroll in the temple, probably Sefer Devarim or Deuteronomy, and he's shaken. He doesn't say, "Wow, what's this weird book?" He tears his clothes, calls a national assembly, and launches sweeping religious reforms. This wasn't a new book. It was a wake-up call. If the Torah had truly been unknown, why would Josiah or the people react so strongly to its rediscovery? This shows one thing clearly. The Torah wasn't forgotten, it had just been ignored. Next up, Psalms, Israel's spiritual diary. Psalm 119 is a love letter to the Torah, not just vague spirituality, specific commandments, laws, decrees. Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. I delight in your Torah, I meditate on your precepts all day long. This isn't post-temple poetry. Most scholars date it to the First Temple period or shortly after. You don't write that kind of passion for a law you've never seen. Let's talk mechanics. The Torah in those days wasn't just a scroll. It was an oral tradition, passed from prophet to elder, from priest to judge. As it says in Pirkei Avot, Moshe received the Torah at Sinai and passed it to Yehoshua, and from him to the elders. That chain didn't rely on bookstores or libraries, it relied on people, communities, living memory. And what about temple practice? Every kohen, every sacrifice, every ritual impurity, it was all based on detailed rules. Rules found where? In Leviticus. So in Ezekiel chapter 44 we read, "They shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane." That's really the job of the Kohanim, the priests. It's Torah law in action. Even Jeremiah, rebukes the people for abandoning the Torah at Hashem, the law of God, as we see in Jeremiah chapter 6 verse 19. He assumes they know what it is. Now, let's address modern biblical criticism, especially the documentary hypothesis, championed by Wellhausen and his friends, which claims that Torah law was written much later, during or after the exile. But scholars like Ezekiel Kaufmann really blew that theory wide open. He pointed out that biblical monotheism, especially the Torah's rejection of idolatry, is radical, unique, and totally unlike the surrounding pagan world. If this were a late invention, it would have developed slowly. Like everything else in the ancient world, instead it lands like lightning at Sinai. Kaufmann argues you can't fake that kind of revolution retroactively. You can only explain it if it was real, early, and powerful. Let me throw this at you. People say, well, if the Torah was so important, how come parts weren't always practiced or quoted? Okay, counter question. Have you read Aristotle? No, neither had most people for 1,000 years. Until the Renaissance, his works were nearly lost, and then suddenly rediscovered, translated, and celebrated. Should we say Aristotle never existed, or maybe knowledge just gets buried sometimes, misunderstood, ignored, and then revived? Same goes for the Torah. The evolution of Jewish law, from Moses to the prophets to the Talmud, wasn't about replacing the Torah. It was about absorbing it, understanding it more deeply, adapting it to a changing world. And guess what? The Torah expected that. Lo bashamayim hai, it's not in heaven, it's in your hands, your courts, your society. The prophets weren't breaking with Sinai. they were carrying its torch. So, was the Torah around during the first temple? Absolutely. Was it always understood, always practiced, always perfect? No, but neither was democracy, justice, or science. Doesn't mean they weren't real. Torah was present. In the temple, in the prophets' words, in the lives of people who cared, and even in the rebukes of those who didn't. That's how you know something is real, because it matters enough to fight for. So let's drop the anachronisms. Let's read the prophets in their context. And let's remember, Torah isn't just a book, it's a covenant, a revolution, a story still unfolding. Thanks for watching. If this challenged you, inspired you, or just got your brain ticking, give us a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and hit that subscribe button. See you next time. Stay curious.